Does this story sound familiar? 3 days ago, Teresa completed that training on how to use the new system. And now it's time to apply what she learned. She gets an email or a phone call, or a customer walks in the door and she needs to perform a transaction in the new system. But she can't remember what to do. She can't remember where to click or what information needs to be filled out. Now, even though the training covered all of that, Teresa's having trouble putting it into action outside of the formal learning event. So, what should she do? And how can you help Teresa fill that gap between formal learning and applying what she's learned when it matters, when a customer is right in front of her? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about in this video. Hey there, my name is Jonathan and I'm the head of consulting here at ScreenSteps. And if you're thinking about purchasing ScreenSteps to help with your employee training, you might be thinking, we already have an LMS and we already have SharePoint. So what value will ScreenSteps bring to the table? And that makes perfect sense, right? Why do you need one more thing? And what gap will ScreenSteps fill in your training strategy? Well, that story I shared in the beginning is the gap that ScreenSteps fills. In other words, ScreenSteps helps your employees transfer what they learned during formal training to their daily workflow. See, what often happens is that employees successfully complete formal training, but when it comes time to transfer what they learned and apply that knowledge to typical transactions, they can't do it. Now, using ScreenSteps, you bridge that gap by creating actionable learning assets that help employees apply what they learned in their formal training to their daily routine. You can provide employees with checklists, step-by-step guides with decision trees, job aids, reference articles, videos, GIFs, and more. And employees can quickly bring these resources up and use them while they're handling transactions and tasks. The result is that employees can effectively apply what they learned during formal training. Now, let's look at another scenario. What happens when a procedure changes? Well, instead of taking employees away from work to do a formal training every time there's a change, you can make updates to your learning assets in ScreenSteps. Send them a notification announcing the change. And the next time employees use that learning asset, they'll be able to immediately apply the new information while doing their work. So let's circle back to that story about Teresa. But this time you're using ScreenSteps. So 3 days ago, Teresa completed that training on how to use the new system. She gets a phone call and needs to perform a transaction in the new system. While she can't remember all the details, she knows where to go for help. She pulls up a learning asset that you created in ScreenSteps and uses it while she's on the call without missing a beat. She was able to perform the transaction perfectly and without wasting any time. Then a month later, the procedure changes. Teresa was sent a notification in ScreenSteps letting her know about the change. And the next time she had to perform the transaction, she just pulled up the learning asset in ScreenSteps and followed the updated steps. Again, she was able to perform the transaction perfectly, and she didn't need to take a break from work to learn anything new. And she could apply the new information while simultaneously handling the transaction. When you use ScreenSteps as part of your training strategy, your L&D team will be able to create visual, clear, and dynamic learning assets that help employees bridge the gap. If you'd like to learn more, schedule a time with a ScreenSteps specialist to see a demo of how you could use ScreenSteps in your organization.